your process.
I'll do it again. I kind of expected some more detail to come out of those items. And I wasn't sure if it would be discussed later on, so I didn't raise any question to begin with. But is there a way we can find out more detail specific to the engineering reviews related to safety? I think letters B, C, and D on the omnibus agenda, just what they're going to entail, and then along with maybe some dates on when the studies will be concluded and so forth.
I don't know that I have dates as to when the studies would be completed, but the board report and the proposed agreements and the like with respect to the various services that we will be asking KLOA to perform are all available for you to read and review. And I'm sure if you have questions with respect to any particular matter, Mr. Lipschen, our village manager, would be more than happy to do that.
Can we find that on the website, or is it just in paper format?
Yes, the board reports and all of the attachments, or all the attachments are on the website as well.
Was it a recent board report that I would look for to find out those details?
They're in this particular agenda packet,
Okay.
so.
How about online? Would it be a specific meeting that I'd be looking for to find that information, or is
It's tonight's meeting.
So,
Tonight's
okay.
meeting agenda has those attachments, those board reports and the.
is that already posted, or is
Yes.
Okay.
It's always posted the Thursday, at least the Thursday prior to the Monday meeting.
Okay. Mr. Lipschen, you addressed one of my questions, and I was wondering if I could comment on that. The safety points that you mentioned related to going back to school and
Sure.
kind of kids getting involved. It's great that we'll be posting signs like that, but do we have any other efforts to get that information out to the residents? Maybe a card that's handed out to all the kids to say, bring this to your parents, or any sort of other initiatives just related to education in particular?
I will answer and then let you follow up, because operationally you deal with this more than I do on a day-to-day basis. But the village works on a fairly consistent basis with each of our schools. I know when I was involved in Castle School and in Park, I know our staff talked directly with the principal, and whether that's always the case or not for each school district, I can't comment. But they typically have meetings before school starts and go over safety procedures, pick up, drop off, and the like. And typically, I believe the school, with the assistance of our staff, including our police department staff, prepares notices to parents that are then delivered to all of the kids in the documents that they receive, their first packet or their registration materials and the like. So that is one way in which we get that message out with respect to safety around schools in particular. Mr. Fletcher, is there something to add?
Other than the fact that throughout the year, the schools also include that information in their newsletter. If there's something of a special note, we'll contact the schools and ask them to deliver that message home through daily and weekly packets. And like I said, the schools certainly cooperate with us, including that information in their quarterly newsletters to parents as well.
I believe the state of Illinois recently passed legislation involving the use of texting while driving, and now that cell phones are more frequently used by pretty much everyone, including new drivers, are we doing anything specific to address the issue of cell phone use with our brand new drivers? Have we placed any focus on that, or thought about how we might do some education, telling them that it may not be a good thing to do that?
Chief Hummel, turn it over to you.
The school teaches the driver education courses, and one of our officers is a school liaison or school resource officer, and he goes there and he addresses the classes prior to them hitting the road in their permit stage, and talks about safe tips, even things about how to respond or how to react if you get stopped by the police. So he addresses a number of those issues, including cell phone usage, radio distractions, iPod things. Yes.
Is there any greater emphasis being placed on items like that, since it's new, it wasn't there when I was learning how to drive, so we didn't talk about it at that point in time, but since they did pass this law that I believe goes into effect January 1st, should that be like a bullet point, use is forbidden, and
Because I'm sure that'll be in their new agenda. When I was driving, it was 8 tracks. We had to put the 8 tracks in, but No, I'm sure it'll be in their agenda packet when they start the programs up again in August. They start the driver training program, so yeah, I'm sure that'll be it. And the efforts that we did, all of the police associations were strongly pushing for this kind of legislation, so we were kind of happy to see it.
Matt, when it gets closer to January 1st, we'll go ahead and include something in the newsletter, which we featured this past month, pedestrian safety, and some of the things that we've done over the past year for folks that don't have computers or don't access the web and the like. And we'll also put something on the web at the time, just as an additional awareness reminder, which is part of our overall strategy. So thank you.
I'll add that as the parent of a teenager that just went through driver's ed, so I can let you know what they're doing, at least within the last year, that they were told in the very strongest of terms that texting was beyond stupid, that it constituted reckless driving in their opinion, not necessarily the legal opinion, and that if they thought that they should be talking on the phone, that would only compound it. So that message is already getting out there. I mean, just thinking of texting and driving makes the hair stand up on my neck, and hopefully when it's the people who are charged with these teenagers that are getting their very first shot, I hope that they continue to express it in the strongest terms, regardless of what they do in Springfield.
Okay. Trustee Horvath isn't here tonight, but a couple months ago, when we were talking about safety, he brought up the topic of creating a safety committee or task force to focus not just on the issues maybe pertaining to 47, but overall safety within the community. Are there any further efforts related to that topic?
I've had further discussions with Mr. Horvath and then subsequently with our village manager as well, considering the issue. And yes, it is under consideration. There are some challenges. Such a commission, any commission that we have, needs to be meaningful. Obviously, we can't just get a bunch of people in the room together and not have meaningful work for them to do and meaningful contributions to make. It would not be appropriate for the village staff, board, your elected officials to rely upon our residents, volunteers, to provide directions to our professional staff. That's why we have a professional staff. We hire an outstanding staff here in the village, from Mr. Pollution through all of our staff that's in the village hall, our police department and our fire department. And they follow the policy directives of the village board and implement those, and we charge them on a day-to-day basis to implement our policy decisions. And although we have lots and lots of talented people in the village who are willing to offer their expertise, that's a very positive thing if we can focus it in the right direction. Specifically, one of the directions that Mr. Pollution and I have talked about, and also with Mike, is the issue of education and communication of safety measures and precautions. That seems to be the area where both we feel we can use a significant amount of volunteer effort to get the word out so that people not only understand the safety measures and precautions and the laws and the rules and regulations that we all try to put in place in order to create safety for both pedestrians and those in vehicles and otherwise, but communicating those and getting people to pay attention and to follow them. What I've talked about with Mr. Pollution is possibly formulating a commission that would involve members of school and other community organizations who have access to then a body of people so that they can take some of our safety knowledge and rules and regulations and implementation and to take them to those bodies of which they might be members, for instance, in a school setting, to really, to direct through the school board or through the administrative staff directives to the parents and the kids. This is what we've got to do, and more so the parents.